All right, so early voting is over and Election Day set for Tuesday. Still a lot of questions, though, when it comes to what is on the ballot and, of course, some of the candidates.
Joining us in today's Leading Essay segment is Jon Taylor, professor of political science and chair of the Department of Political Science at UTSA. Good morning.
Morning.
So, Professor Taylor, you joined us before early voting. Have you noticed any changes over the last couple of weeks?
Well, one change is we're definitely not going to be hitting 2018 numbers for early voting. Better than 2014, definitely not as good as 2018. So what does that mean? That's a real question because, okay, there's two things we need to remember. You've got what's called the blue spine, which is the Democratic base basically along I-35. Then on the west side of I-35, you have what's called the red wall, which extends all the way out almost to El Paso, which is the area in West Texas, especially rural Texas, that tends to be the heart of Republican voting. We are seeing lower early voting in both of these areas. So it's a real guess as to what's going to happen. Why? Because based on what the Secretary of State's office said, they predicted roughly 10 million plus voters. I don't see any way we're getting to 10 million plus voters by Tuesday or on Tuesday.
And speaking of early voting, we are seeing less voters these midterms than what we saw in 2018. Why do you think that is?
Well, a couple of reasons come into play. One, we don't have a Senate race, a really competitive Senate race as we did in 18. Additionally, because you have really, really tight Senate races in Arizona, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, and elsewhere, the money and the interest is going there. The result is that, honestly, there's the other angle here, too, I should note, and it's this. Beto O'Rourke and Greg Abbott are known quantities. People are not excited necessarily because they've seen them on the ballot several times. So there's just not as much enthusiasm for whatever reason, which seems odd given the issues and the questions that come into play. Abbott talking about the border, talking about the Texas economy and inflation. Beto O'Rourke talking about, look, he's been in office for 8 years. What has he done? Both sides can make an argument that this is an important election. Bottom line is that voters don't necessarily seem to be as interested as we thought.
I'm glad you brought up Beto O'Rourke and the governor right now. So recent polls have come out, and that gap between them seems like it's been widening in recent days. Are you surprised by that, and are you surprised by any other recent polls?
It depends. The goofy thing about polls is, of course, they're a snapshot in time. You look at one poll, and I'm not going to diss my friends in Houston, but that one seemed to be a bit of an outlier to roughly a 12, 13% gap for Abbott versus O'Rourke. Most of the other polls suggest anywhere between a 4 to 5 point race, maybe 6 point race. In fact, Lieutenant Governor Patrick himself admitted just the other day out in West Texas that their internal polls, which means the Abbott internal polls as well, suggest a much closer race. And that would be indicative of why Abbott and Patrick have been campaigning so hard in places like Amarillo and Lubbock and Odessa.
And what are the races you're watching closely?
Well, you got the 3 congressional races to the south, 15, 34, and 28, all 3 of which are toss-ups. Now, if you look at the national pundits, they'll say that 2 of the 3 are quote, kind of sort of toss-ups. 1 leans Democrat. 28 maybe leans a little bit more Democrat. 34, that one is a complete, who knows. 15, the same thing for a district that is actually technically now a Republican-leaning district. Democrats may very well lose that one. More locally, for talking San Antonio and Bexar County, obviously the county judge's race, the district attorney's race. But there's another one I think people need to be watching as well, and that's House District 118 between John Lujan and Frank Ramirez. That one's a rematch of the special election that took place last year. That'll be an indication of Republican strength and Republican potentially wave that takes place in Texas. Why? Because that's a district that traditionally has been relatively Democratic. It leans a bit Republican now. A ton of money has been poured in by the Republicans into that race. So if Lujan wins, Republicans might actually strengthen the majority in the state house.
Now, this is going to be a very broad question. We only have about 45 seconds left. But why does voting take so long, and why does it take so long to get an answer? Why do some states not get a winner, declare a winner within 24 hours?
A lot of it has to do with the rules and regulations. The fact that, keep in mind, we vote for 11, 12, 13 hours, depending on the state. And it just takes a while to count votes. In the case of Texas, people need to realize when we're counting votes, we're talking about 2 time zones. The El Paso area is in the Mountain Time Zone, which means We are slow just for that reason. Harris County, being the biggest county in the state, is notoriously slow, and a lot of it has to do with just the sheer number of precincts within that county. And so it ends up being a case where we are slow to the point that we really don't know a lot of our election results of the next day. There's an argument to be made that we should just say, okay, today is election day. Thursday, between Tuesday and Thursday is counting day, and Thursday is announcement day. We should do something like that. Not going to happen, but we should do something like that.
All right, Professor Jon Taylor, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We really appreciate it.
You betcha.